Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session, and the ones to come, will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. Life began with water, and for life to survive, it needed water. However, over time, other elements and particles were added, and for life to continue, it needed similar particles to sustain it. This principle applies to all living things. For instance, a tiger's body is composed of protein, which means it requires a protein-rich diet to survive. Just as water is needed to maintain hydration, protein is necessary for energy. Protein is transformed into energy that leaves the body, but it also enters through the food we consume. Everything in life operates in a way that follows the specific needs of its composition. Life has no choice but to survive according to the makeup of its body. When an organism needs to continue existing, it must have the necessary components for its survival, and all this information is inherently fed into it. This information includes the needs and sensory requirements that help the organism live. Without these senses, an organism would not be able to survive. All the instructions necessary for survival, for what to do and how to act, are within. These impressions, once formed, make us aware of our existence. We then proceed with automatic actions, like pulling away from a hot flame or responding to environmental stimuli, without conscious intervention. These actions occur naturally, based on the body's default settings, and they are essential for survival. We never actively think about these actions, they simply happen. When it comes to humans, however, the issue arises when everything becomes mixed up. Human life does not follow a singular path, but rather moves in infinite directions. In contrast, animals follow instinctive automatic paths that lead to straightforward, choiceless actions. A cat has no choice but to know it must avoid the lion and seek the mouse for food. Life is inherently directed, and the cat's existence is aligned with its instincts. It cannot opt for an alternative path. Similarly, birds do not choose whether to fly. Their survival and instincts dictate that they fly. These creatures' lives flow like a river in one direction, without conflict or confusion. But for humans, the problem lies in the mixing of everything. There is a wealth of information fed into humans, which leads to confusion when interpreting the external world. Humans are bombarded with sensory inputs and impressions from external stimuli, all recorded and stored in their minds. As soon as an impression is made, the individual becomes aware of their existence. This is a continuous process where the need to feel alive persists, and we strive to maintain that sense of existence. Our desire to keep the feeling of existence flowing is constant. This yearning does not only arise when there is physical contact through the senses, but even when thoughts play in the mind. It stirs the feeling of existence. For example, feelings of anger or love intensify our awareness of being. These emotions enhance the sensation of existence. Both love and hate create a feeling of being, yet they manifest differently in the mind. Love, in its purest sense, aligns with our default setting, with what we are naturally drawn to. For instance, water aligns with our intrinsic nature, so we are naturally inclined to move toward it. Similarly, pleasure, which is derived from accumulated experiences, can disrupt our default setting. It is not in line with our nature, as it is shaped by external attractions, such as taste or other desires. People often confuse this attraction to external things with love, But love is not merely about liking a specific thing. It is a deeper instinct to merge with the whole, to simply be in existence. From plants to humans, the drive to exist is fundamental. We do not want to die because death contradicts our inherent nature, which is to remain alive. Similarly, no one desires sadness because happiness is closer to our true nature. Bondage and limitation are foreign to us, as our essence is one of freedom. Freedom is intrinsic to all life, not just humans. No living being wants to feel restricted or imprisoned because freedom is a core part of existence. This universal need for freedom is something that transcends species. Despite this fundamental truth, humans often seek infinite freedom within the confines of the limited existence provided by sensory experiences. The problem arises when the feeling of existence, tied to temporary impressions, cannot fulfill the need for permanence. Everything we experience is fleeting, and as a result, we feel sadness. We crave a constant, everlasting feeling, yet such a sensation is elusive. We keep searching for a lasting feeling of existence, but we are never able to hold on to it because it is connected to transient moments and impressions. These fleeting feelings are what ultimately lead to dissatisfaction. Despite all of our efforts to find permanence in a temporary world, the impermanent nature of life ensures that we remain in a state of longing, forever seeking the experience of a permanent, unchanging existence that never seems to come.